I met a gypsy.
Talking about 23 motorcycles then. So far, have you ridden everything yet from the 23 offerings? And then I guess what excites you for 2023?
Well, what excites me is honestly just doing some more new stuff with the 23 motorcycles. KTM is new, so I like when changes happen for the good or bad. I just like to tinker with stuff. So I'm excited for the 23 450 KTM platform. It needs a little bit of work. It's a little bit stiffer than what you're riding, your 20. The frame is. The 23 YZ 450 is a lot of hype, and it is a better motorcycle. We went to the goat farm, I don't know, 2 weeks ago or whatever, and had a great experience, you know, and it was fun to ride, but the bike is different, and it needs to be, you know, known that, hey, it's not going to feel just like your 22 YZ 450. There's going to do, the bike's going to do some things better. It's going to corner a little bit better. It's going to feel lighter, but it may not be as stable as your old bike. So that's where I come in. I'm going to try to get some of that stability up and then keep that lightweight, good cornering character. So I haven't done shootouts in about, I don't know, 2-3 years. So I think I'm going to do shootouts again because I'm kind of hyped up on some of these new ideas I have about doing shootouts, and I like to do different things. So maybe we spend some more money on a certain bike to raise its level up and then compete it with other bikes.
Oh yeah.
So maybe not everything's just, you know, here it comes out of the dealership floor. Let's test them. You know, let's do certain things to different bikes to make them as best as we can, and then let's all rank them. You know.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about doing some new stuff like that. In the position that I'm in, I'm able to do that, which is nice. And Racer X allows me to kind of create my own ideas and then do the video side with Racer X. And then I'll do the podcast article side over here on Keefer Inc. So it kind of hits a lot of different demographics.
Yeah, that's super cool. I think that's probably a good idea, really, because it's like, so what's the retail of a KTM 450 over there?
So we're getting a KTM 450 about $11,000.
And then, so what would that be to a Yamaha?
It's probably $1,000 less than a YZ 450 you can get. And then of course, you got other bikes that are in that same Yamaha vicinity.
Yeah.
A couple $100 here and there, but KTM is the most expensive if you're just buying the standard editions. You know, because then you got all the different factory editions.
What does the Husky work out more expensive than the KTM?
So yeah, so the Husky brand itself, how that group wants to brand each bike. The Gas is the fun motorcycle brand.
Yeah.
The Husqvarna is the what's the word I'm looking for? Is the
premium
boutique brand. Yeah, boutique brand, and then KTM's we're the race brand. So Husqvarna and KTM are similar in pricing and within a couple $100.
Okay.
But the Husqvarna is a little bit different because they lower their suspension 10 mil.
Yeah.
So there are some differences between the KTM and the Husqvarna and the Gas, where the Gas uses a blend of KTM and Husqvarna pieces.
Yeah.
And then the Husqvarna in 23 is the most similar to the KTM now that it ever has been, but it just has a 10 millimeter lower fork and shock.
So essentially you do like a $11,000 shootout. So it's like you get all the 450s together and then they all end up costing $11,000. And it's essentially like, this is the best motorcycle you can get for $11,000, not this is the best of the stock motorcycles. That kind of would be like the idea of that shootout.
Yeah, and like maybe I raise the price even more. Let's say, you know, I raise it up $1,000 or $2,000 more. So if you can do something to those expensive bikes, you can.
Yeah.
But yet, if you really want to do a shit ton to that Suzuki, you got all of this that you can create, right? And let's see how they really rank up. Does a well-built Suzuki with some engine work, some suspension work, is it as good as a new bike on all different kinds of levels? Not just for me, but is 220-pound guy going to be enjoying it as much as I am? So that's what I like to use, is a wide range of guys, because I'm all dick and ribs compared to most people that buy bikes for 450s, right? These guys are 200 pounds, you know? So especially here in America, Jace, we're big boys over here.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I like that. I like that idea, and I also think as much as I was saying that we need like that entry level Suzuki budget bike to get people into it, I'm also not mad at a manufacturer coming out with like a $27,000 motorcycle. Like, people would buy that motorcycle. I mean, you look at an S-Works specialized e-bike, like a Levo, bro, you're fucking spending like 25 grand on that son of a bitch. So it's like, dude, I ain't mad at Honda or Kawasaki coming out with something that is just blinged off its tits, and it's like good. It's got like a real motor, you know what I mean? It's got like some fucking good shit in it. Comes with A-kit forks, comes with a good shock, like just comes with the recluse clutch. Just literally build this bitch out to be fucking bad. Build me a baddie. And then, you know, you could, if you made 500 or 600 of those bikes per year, you know, then you can kind of like justify the A-kit and you can, you know, bring that cost down. But give me a S-Works Honda, bro. Like, give me that. I want to know, like, give me the shit that's just got like everything done to it. It's got some of the parts from the factory team. Like, make there be a point to even have a factory motorcycle, you know, like, you know, pass it on, boys.
Yeah, dude, that's absolutely. I'm the same way. Like, I'm the guy that bitches about like your $25,000 S-Works. I'm like, I ain't ever getting that. That's insane. So I understand the guy's going, I can't afford a $15,000 Works edition. So I understand both sides, but it's getting sold. There's people out there that spend $25K on a S-Works. So why not build it? And the factory edition, like the whole marketing scheme, it's proven correct. How many other brands have hopped on that bandwagon, you know? Yeah. We've got a special racer. We got a Works edition. We got all these different special motorcycles now that they're my buddy. $15,000. I'm like, you're insane for $15,000. I would roach that thing in 2 months. It would be roached. Yeah. But he does it. Like, he did it because he loves it. Like, they love it. So, dude, I'm all for it just like you.
Yeah. What would you do? What would you do if you said, all right, we got 25 grand. This is going to be our retail. Like, obviously they need to make a bit of cash on it. What do you think can go on a motorcycle that actually is good to hit that $25,000 or $27,000 price tag?
First, the suspension. Like, people freak out on A-kit, and I understand because it looks like, for example, I walk out into my shop. Oh, right. Like, I walk out into my shop and I see the Works Edition Honda, and I'm like, I want to take you somewhere and I just want to treat you like shit, right? Like, I like that look. But then you ride it and you're like, it's not as good as it looks. She wasn't as fun as I thought she was going to be, right? So for me, I would start with a good setting with suspension. And if it's A-kit, awesome. Let's put all the nooks and crannies on it. Let's gold it up. Let's make it work really well. So you have that. And then for me, I remember a long time ago, I don't know if you remember this, James Stewart and his dad got a lot of heat for James ain't racing unless he has his ECU with him. And people are like, it's a fucking ECU. What's the big deal? Like, it's an ECU. But I'm telling you right now, with modern day four-strokes, if you have a finely tuned ECU, and you know this, you have one on your bike, it changes the whole character of your motorcycle. Not just the engine, but the chassis.
Oh, like, for sure.
I have a Yes, like I have a Vortex in my Yamaha YZ450, my race bike. Not because I want more power. I don't need more power. I need the power spread out in a certain way, right?
Yeah.
So an aftermarket ECU would be on that, and the parameters would be big. And then I would start trinkling in like seat covers, different handlebars, clamps, and things like that. And then I would go to the engine. A lot of these factory edition or Works editions, I shouldn't say factory edition because they don't do anything to their engines, but like the Honda engine is just cleaned up. Like, I would take it up a step further and get that ECU that we're putting in. Let's do some work to the head. Let's put a piston in there. And let's tune that ECU around this engine to where you're just like, dude, this is like melted butter on French toast. Like, it's so smooth. Like, it's insane, right? Like, and that's what these factory engines are like. When I ride these guys' engines, you think this thing's going to be so much power, but it's not. They're so smooth and long.
Yeah.
And all of that tech most of it is in that suspension and chassis. Like, that's where all that tech is. So that's what I would do for a factory edition if I was going to build one. I would really fine tune the engine around an ECU, get that suspension to where it's comfortable, but you have hold up, because that's the beauty about factory suspension. So when I ride factory suspension, or in your case, you have the blackjack stuff, right? So your performance goes up. But then sometimes when you get performance that goes upward, the comfort never really matches that performance. So sure, my performance is better, so I can slam into shit harder, but maybe my light bump is not as good. Well, when you ride factory stuff, because I've had the pleasure of doing that, both of those rise up together. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So not only are you getting that performance gain, your comfort level is as equal. So that thing that you said, like, hey, I didn't even know I could hit that corner or that chug that hard. That's what great suspension or factory level stuff can really do and change a rider's life.
If you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe. And to listen to the full 3-hour podcast, search Gypsy Tales in your favorite podcast platform or click the link in the description below. Gypsy Gang.